As we've done every other week throughout the year, every Thursday, or every other Thursday, I should say, we talk to Phil Simms in the Simms Spotlight presented by Bigelow Tea. Grab a mug and tea proudly. Phil joins us on Big Blue Kickoff Live right now. Phil, you got Schmeelk and Dottino today. My apologies ahead of time for that. How are you today?
Oh, listen, don't apologize, Paul. Whatever they're telling you, it's not true. I look forward to talking to you and hearing your opinions, and I look forward to you yelling at us too, because you usually do. But that's okay.
Merry Christmas, Phil.
Merry Christmas to you. We're all in a good spirit. So, but here we are again. Rough game by the Giants out in L.A., and they played a football team that's pretty hot, and especially a team. Well, really, I thought the Chargers, not to demean the Giants, but I thought they played pretty well on both sides. I thought they were aggressive on the defense. Their speed helped them. And, of course, the Chargers' offense, now you got to see it up close and personal. And Justin Herbert, you can't exaggerate it too much or whatever. One of the best throwers in the NFL, and he showed that against the Giants too.
All right, Phil, I'm going to start there just from and we'll get into the Giants, obviously. Just from a quarterback's perspective, can you just talk about that throw, rolling right, stopping, back to the middle of the field, over the opposite shoulder, and just how impressive that throw was?
Well, it's very impressive. I've seen him do it arguably, or literally I've seen him do that play either down the sideline, rolling out, throwing on the dead run, or down the middle. I've seen it it seems like 10 times this season. So it's very common. When he escapes the pocket, he's not looking to throw the ball short. He looks down the field and is willing to take chances too. It's not like he just throws the guys that are wide open. But that throw, like I said, I've seen it many times, and he makes it look so easy. And it seems like every throw is a perfect spiral, and he can really determine what kind of speed he wants on the football. And I thought there were maybe 4 or 5 throws in the Giant game where he just overpowered the ball. In other words, the coverage looks pretty good. You think, if he throws it, we're going to knock this down. And he just rips it past the defender into the receiver's hands, and they do that like it's just common to them. And, I follow the Chargers very close because we cover them a lot at CBS. And nothing he did against the Giants surprised me, that's for sure.
Yeah, Phil, one of the other things that I know Giants fans were upset about when they were watching them go against the Chargers, that pass rush, once again, seems to have lost a lot of its teeth as the season has gone on. And, of course, when Leonard Williams went out of the game, that didn't help the situation at all.
No, it's I think the disappointing thing, look, when you're a passing football team, which the Chargers are, and Justin Herbert is every bit of 6'6", or at least he looks it on the field. He plays tall, can throw over top of defenders, which very few quarterbacks can do, and he can throw under pressure. So pass rush has not really been something that's determined the outcome of games against the Chargers. I think what's disappointing when you talk about the game is the fact that the Chargers ran the football against the New York Giants. And the Chargers, there's 2 reasons why you just can't say they're going to be a serious playoff team if they get in, because they usually don't run the ball that well, and they don't stop the run that well. And that was not a case against the Giants. I think they ran for over 150 yards, so that kept their offense balanced. That keeps the defense at bay and made things easier for Justin Herbert, of course, when he threw the ball.
Phil, and I think you make a good point, right? And every week we talk about the Giants' opponents and what their weaknesses are and what the Giants might be able to attack. And we always preface that conversation with, well, we know what the weaknesses are. Now, can the Giants, with their talent, take advantage of some of those weaknesses the other team might have? And obviously, a big part of that, at least offensively, is that you don't have your starting quarterback. Mike Glennon is in there. So as you head into the Cowboy game this week, with Glennon behind center, how tough is it to put together a game plan that's going to work against the Dallas Cowboys defense that really the last 5 games or so has really been rolling?
Well, I've been watching the Cowboys because everybody always wants to talk about them, and kind of rightly so now. They're winning games. The defense it's on fire. And what they did last week, at least they did it last week, so the Giants at least have a picture of what they might do on the defensive side. The fact that they moved Micah Parsons around, played a defensive end. I think he actually got down as a D tackle once or twice in the game. He was 5 yards off the football and blitzing and just trying to get a one-on-one with a running back, and just running him over. And, everything that you're hearing on TV about him or you read about him, it's all true. He deserves it all. He's a tremendous player. But I think the problems that they can cause for you now, do you treat it as 5-down lineman, even though he's standing up, maybe moving, whatever, and you're going to have to keep some guys in the block, or you better get rid of the football very fast because they're a tremendous pass-rushing team. They're aggressive. And Dan Quinn, whatever, he had a terrible day on Thanksgiving against the Raiders. And the Raiders probably played their best game of the year, especially on offense, to do what they did. But he's willing to do things a lot different than he did as the Atlanta Falcons head coach. They're more aggressive, more man-to-man, more blitzing. And his reason for that, he says, I got tired of watching teams, complete 5- and 6-yard passes all the way down the field on us. So there's going to be some chances for the Giants because the way they're playing, because they do take chances. But the big problem is, can you get open quick enough, and can you protect the quarterback?
Phil, the last time the Giants played the Cowboys, it was a competitive game into the third quarter. Daniel Jones got hurt, knocked out, Glennon was in, and then he gets picked off by Trevon Diggs, which was really the linchpin to that game where the avalanche began. What do you see in Diggs? Is he truly as dangerous as the headlines say?
Yeah, he's dangerous. And you know why? Because you can't trust him. And it's not like you really can't. In other words, he might not be in position, but he still might go for the interception. And I always found guys like that when I played and when I covered NFL games all those years. Those are guys you look out for and worry about because they'll take the big chance to get the interception. And, I learned from guys like Aqib Talib, and he would say things. I'd say, this team's really good at throwing out cuts, Aqib. He goes, yeah, I know, Phil. I know. And I said, well, he goes, well, I'm going to give them one or two. But you know what? When I get one, I'm going all the way. and I just laughed. I went, oh, that is just a great analogy of what these type of corners, what they do. And that's who he is. He's that guy. He kind of reads the quarterback and receiver really free as far as his coverage goes. I think he's just one of those guys that can change direction, twist his body, do whatever. And, look, he's got great instincts. And as we've seen, it's not an overstatement. When he gets his hands on it, he usually doesn't drop it, and he's dangerous once he catches the interception. So really got to have your eyes open. And as Bill Parcells would say, I'm not putting him up there with Darryl Green. Sims, Darryl Green's over here. I don't want to see one pass over here. Not one. And, of course, I threw one at him once, and he almost intercepted and ran him back for a touchdown, and Parcells is screaming. I said, well, they're double covering the other side now. He goes, I don't care. I don't care. And let me tell you what, I learned a good lesson because I threw the ball. I think it was Phil. Looked like he was wide open. The ball's in the air, and I went, oh, no. And I took off running because Darryl Green changed directions and was undercutting it, and he's going to go. And, boy, as it hits his hands, he drops it, and I went, oh, wow. Sometimes you get a break. And but I still heard it from Bill when I got to the sideline.
All right, Phil, you got to tell me now, who was he covering? Was it Manuel?
No, I think it was Phil McConkey.
McConkey?
Yeah, well,
that's showing a lot of respect now, Phil. That's showing a lot of respect, right?
McConkey had actually had some success against Darryl Green.
Okay.
And I don't know why. Phil was a really good weaver. He could, go in and out and, plant pretty good. He was tricky. And he was deceptively faster than everybody thinks he was.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'm not sure if it was McConkey. I just remembered. I think it was him. But it doesn't matter. Whoever it was, I know he went under him like it was nothing. And I know when it comes to a foot race, my chances of beating him are 0. And I would probably just go, I hope he falls as he's running for the touchdown.
I hope he falls. Great strategy. I love it.
Phil, we've been getting...
Fall! Drop it!
Yeah. Good idea.
That was a word that I knew very well. As the football's leaving your hand, you're going, oh, no, drop it. And, every once in a while they do drop it. It makes you feel good.
That's why they're quarterbacks and not receivers, Phil.
That's right. Okay.
We've been getting hammered, Phil, either on social media or here at the program about people clamoring for Jake Fromm.
Oh, I was going to ask that question.
Okay.
You're on the same page. Go
Yeah.
ahead, Paul, please.
Oh, Jake Fromm. Well, we know what Mike Glennon is. Well, let's give the kid a chance. Let's throw him in there right now because we got to see what he's got. You tell everybody from a quarterback's perspective, what you would do if, again, I know you don't know Jake Fromm personally, at least I'm guessing you don't, so you don't necessarily know his learning curve, but the situation that he is in right now, how soon would you consider giving him a look?
And Phil, just to set the stage for you, at the end of this week, he will have had 9 practices with the Giants, and he still has not played in a regular season NFL game. Go ahead.
Well, listen, I'm not demeaning the fans, but I'm just going to say this. They always want the next quarterback, okay? So I would tell everybody out there, give it a rest, okay? And Mike Glennon, I thought he played well in the game against the Chargers. He made a lot of good throws, got unlucky with the interception at the end of the game, but he made good decisions overall. I was kind of charting it, and I kind of gave up and said, okay, this is a waste of time. He made a couple bad decisions, or not the perfect decision, but overall he did well. And that's more than you can expect for him coming in there. Yeah, he's a veteran, but he gave the Giants, at least he did, and managed the game and executed the game plan. All those things, I think, pretty well. Now, Jake Fromm, I think, was drafted in the 5th round by the Buffalo Bills.
Yes,
We had him on the practice squad. Mm-hmm. You're right. I think he's a frontline starter in the league, and by God, if he plays, he's going to the Pro Bowl. So there we go. I mean, it's really – I mean, what do we expect? I just got off the phone with somebody from Dallas. I said, Dak Prescott, he's in a slump. I go, oh, my God, I wish I could have been in one of those slumps in my career. Scoring 30 points and whatever, and, he's not sharp. And it's, everybody, please be quiet. You're not going to play perfect at the quarterback position. It's not a game of perfection, but we act like it is. And did you know when Dak Prescott's QB rating is over 90, they're 6-0? Well, really? No kidding. I mean, the team is giving him a lot of chances to make plays. So you know what we got to do this week? We got to get his QBR over 90. Then we'll win. Oh, yeah, that's it. That's it. We'll throw a couple hitches, throw a slant, and throw a screen, then kneel on the ball the rest of the game, and your QBR will be through the roof. So, but this quarterback thing, and I don't mean to – I am ranting. I don't care.
No, we love it. I love it, Phil. Go, please, rant away.
But it wears me out. It really wears me out. It's I got to watch TV all week as I'm watching the games and hear people – get into the numbers and, he didn't play well, and so much for Justin Herbert being Patrick Mahomes as they lose a game. Well, did you watch the game? He threw the ball great. He was the best player on the field. Everything. What else you want? But they lost the game. And he threw an interception. Oh, my God. But let's don't count all the great plays he makes. All the throws that him and about 2 or 3 other guys in the league can make. On and on. So it's just but that's the world we live in. We're going to put numbers on it and all that stuff, and it's crazy. And I said to somebody, I guess about that, I'm just tired of hearing about the next quarterback. Now we don't want the backup. We want the third stringer, who we just picked up off the practice squad. So Buffalo held him in such high esteem, they didn't even protect him. They put him on the practice squad. So you're right. By God, we need him in there, and I think that will change the Giants' season completely around.
Phil, I love you to death. You're the best. I have one more question on the matchup before we get to the fan questions here, Phil. You mentioned the Cowboy offense in passing. You're right. Not as productive the last 4 weeks, but you look at the numbers. Prescott still has a passer rating in those games, 80-something. They're still moving the ball. Last week, they would have scored 40, except they were 1 of 5 in the red zone against Washington. They just couldn't put the ball in the end zone. What are you seeing out of this Cowboy offense right now? What's the parts of it that if you're the Giants prepping for this game that you're really worried and concerned about, and what can they do to try to slow it down?
Well, I think the first thing is we'll see how they do. They're not running the ball great, and I don't think Tony Pollard I haven't looked at the injuries or what. Is he going to be out of the game?
He did not practice on Wednesday. I would say probably less than 50-50 at this point.
Well, I think and I think that the Giants can hold up and stop the running game, then they're going to have some chances in the pass game. That's going to slow it down too. But if you have to play, which the Giants did, when they played man-to-man coverage against the Chargers, they got up there to stop the run. Sometimes they still let the run get by them. And then two, you want to be able to stop the run with your front seven. And that would be a big key, because if you play the Dallas Cowboy receivers and their scheme and all that man-to-man too much, then you're going to lose some of those battles, no matter how good your guys are. And, the pass rush, the coverage has got to be good to give them some extra time. But when I look at the Dallas Cowboys, the run game is one. Dak Prescott, yes, it wasn't a great game. He had to go to the second, third receivers a lot. He did overthrow a few guys, which, if he misses, he usually misses with his throwing motion. It's almost always high. It doesn't go low or right, or it just goes high because he has a big high release a lot of times. And when you do that, the timing's got to be perfect. It wasn't for him that day. He threw some questionable footballs, but I watched the game very closely because I heard all this, and I just went, well, I don't know if I'm going to jump off the cliff over this. The sign of a good team is what? Your stars don't play great, and you still win the game. That's the most important.
Yeah.
There's nothing like it. My God, I played horrendous games, and let's don't go over them. The year we won the Super Bowl. But that happens, and we still won when we didn't play well in certain aspects of our football team. And so, Dak, he's hearing all that stuff. Of course, that makes them motivated, just makes it tougher on the Giants. But the biggest thing is you've got to stop the run and at least give yourself a chance knowing that you can dictate that they're going to have to throw the ball and have some success there.
Phil, we've got a question here that one of our fans had sent in, and they wanted to make sure we asked you. It's Eric Sigelman. He says,
Right.
Ask Phil why the current Giants are not able to employ Saquon Barkley in the passing game to exploit defenses like he did with Tony Galbraith or Dave Meggett, or like Eli did with Tiki Barber. And I think part two to the question, Phil, I'd like to ask you this also. When you watched Barkley on tape last week against the Chargers, there seems to be a feeling amongst a lot of folks that he started looking more like the Barkley the Giants need. So I ask that as part two to the question. Do you see Barkley starting to become himself again after coming back from the injury?
I do. I really do. I mean, I watch the runs, and I go, oh, okay, it's Saquon. Let me watch it again. And I watch it, and there were a few I went, okay, gosh dang, come on. And just a little bit, but I did see the burst. It does keep creeping up on an upward trend. There's no doubt about that to me. There was one run where I think he was over the right tackle. He got in the open field a little bit, and the last guy got him by the feet. And I went, ooh, a couple years ago, that was a touchdown, but it was close this time.
I said the same thing, Phil. Same deal. That was my exact reaction.
Yeah, so you know the play I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
And also, I think as he gets more and more confident, they're going to start using him in the pass game more. You have to. I mean, even those sparks that I see during the game, man, they got to be showing up in practice. And there's nothing like the old adage, let's get our good players out in space. We don't hear that enough. But he's one of those guys, and I think I would love to see it keep going upward for him for the rest of the year, to give him great confidence, to give the Giants confidence in him next year. And, maybe this is just the start of something really good coming down the road for Saquon Barkley. But, yes, find a way, easy to get the football to a running back in passing situations, much harder than it is throwing it to Galladay or whoever, because, that takes time a lot of times, besides wide receiver screens. But, yeah, I like what I see. And that was one of the first things I noticed and wrote down when I was taking notes of the game, that Saquon Barkley, better and better, and I hope that trend continues.
And Phil, this is a question we've answered before, but I don't think we've probably talked to you about it for about a month because Daniel's been out with that neck injury. But this one
Right.
from Neil Zwillinger wants to know, don't you think that Daniel Jones needs to be given some more time to grow into his job? Can you evaluate him based on 3 years without a serviceable offensive line?
Well, look, that's the question always, and I hear it so much, the Giants' offensive line, and, I watched it during the game against the Chargers, too, and I thought, okay, we're doing well, and there's just a few too many breakdowns, quick pressure on the quarterback, run blocking not as good as you want, whatever. But for Daniel Jones, I hope his neck, that he gets well enough. If he could just play, I don't know the situation. The Giants are keeping it very quiet. And I guess, I don't want any inside information, whatever. But if he could get 2 more games in this year, just for more experience, to feel good about and finish the year up on a note where it gives him confidence and makes him feel better. If he misses the rest of the season, that's tough to overcome. Not overcome, but that's all everybody's going to talk about. It's not going to do him well mentally or physically. And so I really think it's important. If he gets a chance to get back in the lineup, I'd love to see him get back in there. And I think the Giants, you guys know more than me, and I don't even want an answer. I think the Giants know what they have, and just as I've said all year long, and I stay with it, I think he will be their quarterback next year. Of course, we know there's going to be some movement in the league by certain quarterbacks. Probably that could change things, but I still overall, I think Daniel Jones will be the Giants quarterback in 2022.
Agree with all that, Phil. And I had a question coming this morning. Usually we send you the questions ahead. This one, I thought it's such a layup I didn't have to, but it's a question that Paul and I get asked a lot here. This one came in from @Charlie68447602. And the question's very simple. And again, Paul and I get asked this again. We answer it the way I'm sure you're going to. But I'm not sure people believe us, but hopefully they'll believe you. Phil, do you think the Giants owners are really concerned about the product that they are putting on the field?
Of course. I mean, without question, they're concerned. And, the Mara family and the Tisches, it hasn't changed since I was there. They take the losses harder than the players.
They do.
And, and I'll never forget Mrs. Mara, after they won the Super Bowl, I can't remember which one it was, the first one with Eli or the second one, and the following year they didn't win it, and she was kind of complaining to me. I said, well, Mrs. Mara, you won the Super Bowl last year. She goes, I don't care. I want it every year. And I was like, whoa. Whoa, that was scary the way she said it. And so that kind of tells you where they're at. And, one of the great moments always in my career, when we get done with games and walk in the locker room, and Mr. Mara would always be there to shake your hand.
This is Wellington now, right?
Yeah, Wellington Mara, yes. And he would always have messages that were so good, win or lose, but if he won, it would always be something really great, like, well, see how they like that, or, I'm not even, like once we beat the Miami Dolphins in 1990, and the game went about 2 hours and 35 minutes. And, of course, that's a lot of time for TV to fill. And back in those days, I don't know what they did. But I come in the locker room, and his thing was, we'll see what CBS can do with that. And I was like, whoa, okay. I'm not thinking about TV, but it was awesome. And he loves stuff like that, games like that. And the Mara family is very involved, and they care. They care for the fans deeply. So I forgot the original question. I talk so much. But do they take the losses hard, and they understand where the fans are coming from and all that? The answer, of course, is yes.
That's exactly what I thought you were going to say, Phil.
Exactly.
Well, yeah. And look, pride is an unbelievable. It's one thing there's nothing like you own the team. That's great. But, you want to have an organization that, of course, we all want to do well. We all want to win. And you want those fans to have a great experience coming to the games. And it's been a while. I want to see the Giants turn it around. And, I was talking to a guy in Dallas this morning, just to give you a quick one. And we talked about Micah Parsons, of course. And I said, yes, sometimes you got to be lucky, because the Cowboys wanted a corner in the worst way.
Yep.
And the two corners they want got drafted. So, we'll just settle for Micah Parsons in. Okay.
And by the way, Phil, after trading down, they settled for Micah Parsons.
What a shame.
I mean, so the moral of the story is you do have to be a little lucky. Sometimes with draft picks, free agents, whatever, and they got lucky. And, okay, they had him graded, whatever, I don't care. But they weren't going to take him. But somebody else made a bad decision in front of them, so they took Micah Parsons, who really is everything we're hearing. It's all true. And I think when you guys, I don't know, when you played down in Dallas, was Micah Parsons a big story then?
Not nearly as big as he is now.
Not nearly, no. He's got sacks in 6 straight games now, Phil, and you know how people love sacks.
Well, sure.
Quarterbacks.
And listen, those sacks are real. And it's not like the quarterback's running out of the pocket and he trips him for a 1 yard or no gain or whatever.
Nope.
This is him beating people and smashing the quarterback and taking them down. And, he's poor Taylor Heineke. Man, he took some hits from Micah Parsons. He's probably got the number 11 tattooed on him somewhere. It was unbelievable. But, the whole group, what he is doing is lifting up a really talented group. And we all know about Randy Gregory, DeMarcus Lawrence, and there's this other guy that you got to worry about. I think I loved him coming out of college, played at Oklahoma, Neville Gallimore.
The tackle.
He's the tackle. He is a pain too. You're going to see. You could show a double feature when he gets down in the stance on his rear end. He's huge, and I learned that from Earl Leggett, the D-line coach of the Giants.
I remember Earl.
Pretty good.
Sure do.
Yeah, but, Earl was a great guy. But, he's just one of those guys who is big, can stop the run, and is agile enough to be a pain in the rear when it comes to rushing the passer, too. And, he went to Oklahoma. I think he was from Canada, stayed at Oklahoma 5 years. Like I said, he's athletic. And when the Cowboys took him, I'm not sure what round. I'm going to say the third.
Third round, yeah. Third round, yep.
Third round, I just went, oh, man, they got another guy. This is another guy. He doesn't even have to be a starter. He's going to come in and give you valuable reps. And damn Cowboys, man, they're getting lucky in this draft.
Phil.
And their team, when you look at it, I know Giant fans don't want to hear this, but their team, when you look at their rosters, look at how many guys are high draft picks by the Cowboys.
Right.
It's like home run, home run, home run. It just keeps going down the line. They've hit on so many guys, and so good for them, sarcastically. But but it kind of goes back to what I want to say. Sometimes when your team gets into a certain situation, which I think the Giants are in right now, it just takes a break or two somehow. It's the draft, the free agent, something. A seventh-round draft pick becomes an all-pro guy. Things like that, and that's really what it takes to get out of the whatever you want to say,
the quicksand, Phil.
Right now.
It's quicksand,
yeah,
is what it is. It's quicksand.
Yeah, it is quicksand. It's hard to get out of. It's once franchises get in this mode, and of course, I follow it close like you guys do. It's hard to get out of, and it takes some great drafting, extremely good coaching, and everything else involved to just get it solidified. I'm not talking about winning and getting the playoffs. We're just talking about going, wow, we got a chance now, no matter who we line up against. And right now, that's not the situation.
Phil, great conversation. Always a pleasure. Next time we talk to you, it'll be after the holidays. So Merry Christmas. Have a great one. And we will talk to you right before the new year, my friend.
Best to your family, Phil.
Okay, John, thank you. And Paul, listen, I'm glad you were on today. Good to talk to you. I thought you were going to give me some, a few jabs there, Paul, but you didn't. You let me off easy.
Come on, number 11. You know better than that.
Oh, actually, Phil, and before we go, tell the folks what a great holiday gift a nice case of Bigelow Tea makes for people.
Well, it is good, and I'm drinking it like crazy now because I have a head cold, and which I always drink. I think it's going to ward off all illnesses for me. Of course, it can't do that, but I do drink a ton of Bigelow Tea. I got everybody on the set except Boomer. Well, I shouldn't say that. Drinking Bigelow Tea. James Brown drinks it with me during the day. Hey, so it's all good. They're a great company. I've been with them for 20 years, and I'm proud of that. And I'm not saying I'm as proud of that as I am being a New York Giant, but I'm pretty dang proud of being part of the Bigelow company and what they do because I admire what they do. It's a great product, and I love talking about it.
Bigelow Tea, cookies and Bigelow Tea, Santa's favorite snack.
And by the way,
there you go.
Paul can attest, there is a case of Bigelow Tea sitting right on the box next to my desk right
Indeed
here.
there
I
is.
was drinking some this morning.
All right.
Be well, Phil.
Merry Christmas, my friend.
Same to you guys. Thank you.
Talk to you in a couple weeks. That's
Okay.
Phil Simms in the Sims Spotlight presented by Bigelow Tea. Grab a mug and tea proudly.